Hi again. Life lessons, friends. Alright, I'm just getting this corny intro out of the way. So we can really chew on something tonight. And I'm just hopping on here for not too long to share a quote that I came across today. A quote by the late, great Nipsey Hussle, who happens to be one of my personal inspirations. You know, just listening to his interviews and aligning his moves with his words, he was able to get so much accomplished. And there was a lot of self-reliance, self-belief involved. Which brings me to share the quote I read, which states, "Try to create your own opportunity rather than to wait for it." And that's a quote that deeply resonates with me already, with how I tend to move in life. You know, I've moved solo for a long time, since I was younger, since I was little.
Purchase your tracks today.
And I don't know that it was intentional when I was little, more so just how I moved, you know. I didn't wait for others to have fun. If I was bored, I was deeply into my own imagination. You know, if I didn't have access to things that would allow me to have fun or entertain myself, I found a way. My mind was often my escape into realities that were more enjoyable. And I had experienced things. Obviously, some things were unpleasant. But you know, there's just times in your life where you have to be somewhere and you're miserable, but you have to be there. Like, there's no way out of it. And so, yeah, my mind was the great escape for a lot of it. And I tell you, it helped me so much as I got older. And when I encountered my first bout with a chronic illness that I couldn't understand, I couldn't explain, it just was very painful. And learning how to navigate that discomfort for a long time, accompanied by severe anxiety and depression, of which I wouldn't see a doctor for until I was in my 20s, right? So we're talking about my early teens, going through life with these pains and this illness and this, you know, undiagnosed depression, and having to fight my way through it, not understanding what was going on, just being miserable. In hindsight, those things have helped develop in me even more the will to fight my way into the reality I want, or the reality I can create in my mind. And I know for me, because I've been able to overcome things that, you know, people said there's no cure for, or, you know, I just have to live with. I just have this will and this stubbornness that says, oh, no. I refuse to just be unhappy. I refuse to just be stuck in uncomfortable situations. My mind is defaulted to find a way. And if I can't find a way, I'm going to make one. And so this quote of Nipsey's, to create your own opportunity rather than to wait for it, is what I want you to chew on tonight. There's always a way if you can believe. If you set your mind to believe that there's a way will be made. No matter what mountain you're trying to climb or what situation you're trying to get out of, sure, it might take a little time. It might take some strategy. But your will and determination will create a way that oftentimes wasn't there at all. This makes me recall a time when I was in my early 20s and I met this guy. He was 38, almost 40. So almost double my age, but he seemed cool, seemed sweet. So I started dating him, and it wasn't too long, but I ended up going away with him for the weekend, and a whole nother side came out of him. And that side included a gun to my head. While we were in his nice BMW, and he had pulled into a parking lot and pulled it out from under his seat. And I remember it was just all over some like silly joke he made that I laughed at. And for whatever reason, he snapped, and there's the gun to my head. And I just, oh my goodness. All those years before in my mind of like being able to navigate first in my mind myself out of a situation, my goodness. Yeah, it was that more urgent because my literal life was in someone else's hands and I couldn't control anything. But somehow in my own determination, I told myself I was just gonna have to charm myself out of it. And somehow I was able to pull at his heartstrings and get him to put the gun down. But then I had to stay with him and someone else he had with him, because I didn't have my car. I didn't have anything. I didn't even have a car at that time. So I was at his mercy, and I didn't want to tell anyone where I was at because I really had no business being there, you know? So it was just bad situation, bad choices on my part. But so I ended up having to stay with him that weekend, and it was awful. Just after the experience, he had went back to nice guy, but you know, at that point, my brain, everything is just shut off. Of like, I just need to stay alive. And he took me home after that weekend, and I was mortified, and I never had to see him again, thankfully, because I pretty much just kind of backed off slowly. And I remember him calling my job and threatening me at my job, but then just kind of shortly disappearing after that. But it's one of those instances that's stuck in my mind of, I never want to feel like that again. I never want to feel like I can't make a move or get away or be subject to someone else's timing for me. And I know that's a bit off from this quote, that I've read, but it just speaks to always having a plan. It's fine to entertain other people's plans, ideas, or opportunities that they may want to give you, but what if it doesn't work out? What if the opportunity puts you in a situation where you're stuck or miserable? Then what? Don't ever be afraid to pivot to your own ideas. And don't ever think that whatever you're trying to accomplish, whatever you're trying to overcome is in somebody else's hands. It's never completely up to anyone but you. And as long as you can create in your mind a vision, you can get to the goal. The way will be made. A way will be created. You don't ever have to put your fate or your ability to reach a goal in someone else's hands. Your mind is magic. Coupled with your ability to believe whatever your mind is conceiving, you will get there. The greatest thing you can do is build up the muscle in your mind to believe no matter what, that you'll get to that vision, you'll get to that goal, you'll get to that dream, no matter what it takes. And no matter who's there, who's supporting it or not. So one of the things that along this life has helped me when I've dealt with a very trivial illness or an addiction, right? Like something that just feels like, how the fuck do I navigate this? How do I stop? Or a goal you're trying to reach. What has helped me, what has been very supportive to me, is finding people who have done what I'm trying to do. Finding people who have had the illness that I have. Finding people who have overcome something that now I need to overcome. And there's so many different resources out there, whether you're talking about books or videos or podcasts. There's information everywhere. And as long as you have access to that information, there's no excuse. There's no excuse for you not to accomplish what they've accomplished or more. Now, of course, you're not in control of everything. But the point is to don't put your fate, don't put your ability to succeed or reach your goals into anyone's hands, because you lose your power when you do that. Empower yourself with knowledge, with information. And stay connected to your intuition. That's a part of it. A big part of it. Because your intuition is going to guide you. It's going to tell you what moves to make and when to make them. It's going to give you the discernment to back off of things that ain't really what they seem. And a lot of times your intuition will guide you to the alignment that you need to keep pushing by way of the people it puts in your path, the book it puts in your path. I can't tell you how many times when I had truly set my mind to something I needed to get to the next step would pop up. And it would feel like magic.
Purchase your tracks today.
So yeah. Create those opportunities by first believing that you can. And then be determined not to stay stuck. Be determined not to be at the will and mercy of somebody else's timing for whatever you want to do with your life. So yeah, salute to the late great Nipsey Hussle, who led by example. He didn't wait for anything, for anyone. He paved his own way. And what a way he paved, not only for himself, but a whole lot of others. One man, one woman can create such a dope landscape for so many people by what they're able to believe in their own mind and soul. We are magic. Our minds and the power of infinite intelligence, universe, God. There's nothing we can't do. Create your opportunities. Find a way or make one. I'll get out your ear now. That's all I've got. Until next time.